remember, you are watching this live.
What did you see? We've got to be quite careful with these guys.
Unfortunately, I think this is the end.
You have your fire!
Look at the nose!
There's a herd of zebra. This is the most epic thing in the world, ever. Good morning, and welcome back to Safari Live. You're on the third of 8 live safaris from this ancient African landscape. My name is James Hendry, and I'm going to be talking to you from my little tent over here, and you are going to be talking to me via Twitter. On the tweet, hashtag Safari Live is the only way you may communicate with us. Ask us your questions, send us your comments, hashtag Safari Live. Do not send us mental telepathy, do not attempt smoke signals. There is only one way, and that is on Twitter. Now, let's have a closer look. Let's have a closer look at where we are in the world. You find us at the southern tip of Africa, the northeast corner of South Africa, and the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. 8.5 million acres of contiguous wilderness. Now, last week we spent some time with the Nkuhuma Pride. They were devouring a buffalo which went rancid fairly shortly thereafter. Stef ate an egg, and Brent, at least Jamie, spent time with a brand new leopard called Vutomi. It was wonderful to spend a little bit of time with her and getting to know her little character. Now, you've met the leopards already with Brent this morning. Stef is out looking for a lion that was roaring around here sometime. He's out on foot again. And Jamie is with something that makes most people out here more terrified than anything else in the world.
Good morning and welcome on this incredible live safari journey here in the African bush. And what an incredible start to our morning. My name is Jamie, and this morning the man bringing you these amazing images is Viam. And for those of you that are scared of snakes, well, don't be too scared, because I'm not in any danger at the moment, but we've had the most amazing start. As you may or may not be able to see, I am somewhat damp. It is raining out here in the African bush, which is absolutely wonderful. And of course, with rain comes all sorts of treasures, like this beautiful, beautiful little snake. And this particular snake is known as a puff adder, and he's actually puffing at me at the moment. So I'm going to take a step back just so that it doesn't feel too frightened. You are so gorgeous. One of the snakes that is thought to be the most dangerous in South Africa, and that's actually because they're relatively placid in terms of temperament. They've got a hugely potent cytotoxic venom, in other words, a cell-destroying venom that causes massive swelling and necrosis. But they're very, very placid snakes, which means they move out of people's way. They don't move. If I were to walk next to him, chances are he wouldn't bite, and it is a he. I can tell that just by the length of the tail. He's got a very, very short tail. The females have much longer tails, and isn't he beautiful? Thank you, little buddy. I'm going to leave you to go on your way. As you can see, he's not too bothered, moving in a very typical puff adder fashion, which is straightforward, rather than the typical serpentine motion of your average snake. What a fantastic way to start off our morning safari. Remember, this is live from the Kruger National Park, and if you have any questions on the amazing creatures like that beautiful snake that we can see, you can send through those on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. How exciting was that for a beginning? They're one of my absolute favorite snakes. I'm going to leave our little snake now and go off in search of lions. I've heard a report that they're not too far away. While we do, let's go back over to Brent and those playful leopard cubs.
Look at this, these leopard cubs. Oh, he's fallen out of the tree. Isn't this incredible? This is happening live right next to you. These silly little leopards are trying to show off their acrobatic skills, and in the process, they've broken their jungle gym. My name is Brent Smith. Welcome to Safari Live. I've got my very good friend Brian Joubert and his thumb, who's hard at work with the Nat.Geo tie on this morning, and this is live from South Africa. Quickly back to the cubs, because they are being incredibly playful. This is young Hosana and Xongile, who we met in the first show. Of course, this is the third live safari that we're taking you on, and these guys are turning out to be the stars of the series so far. He's stalking his sister, who's on the ground, and you might have noticed there's a a pole in the way there. We've actually got a little roof on. It's raining. It is our summer season, and the water is dripping down. And of course, we want to bring you Africa live, whether rain or shine, because the animals live out here every day, and whether it's raining or the sun is blaring down, the cats are up, about, and at play. And often in this cool, wet, drizzly weather, it's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit, the little cats like this are the most incredibly playful, and we're going to get to see some incredible interaction. Watch, watch, watch. Oh, his sister's moving away. That could prompt a jump, a leap from above from him. He's maybe a little bit embarrassed after collapsing out of the tree a few seconds ago. Remember, this is 100% live. You are seeing these incredible images live from South Africa at the exact same time as me. Oh, here he goes again. That is not a very elegant descent, young man. So that is the little male Hosana. They are just under a year old now. And they are at the most wonderful age, where they jump around, stalk each other, and they are literally no more. He's probably about 3 feet from the front of our vehicle at the moment. I can't see where his sister is. There's a possibility she could be even closer. And Clifford, who's contacted us by Twitter using the hashtag Safari Live, says, oh look, she's right next to us, Clifford. Sorry, Clifford. Clifford says, these cubs are amazing. I couldn't agree with you more. Oh, off they go. High-speed chase. Up the next tree, unfortunately behind the pole. Let me move a little bit. Oh, there's a big hole behind me. There we go. This is amazing. So remember that hashtag Safari Live if you want to send us any questions. We are coming to you live from the Greater Kruger National Park, an 8.5 million acre unfenced, untrammeled wilderness where these animals are allowed to roam free and safe from human persecution. And there's the little female Xongile. And if you can't remember what Xongile means, it means the exquisitely beautiful one. And she is absolutely gorgeous. And her little brother looking up from below, Hosana, the little prince. Now we have met their mother as well. She's off hunting, leaving them to play around this area and jump up and down and give us the most exquisite sighting. Good morrow, Douglas. Douglas is wondering, how fast are these leopards exactly? Douglas, well, they can be very, very fast. They probably haven't reached their full potential at this age. Oh, up the tree. Oh, wet bum. Sorry, Douglas, they're just jumping up and down and everywhere. Douglas, they can do about 24 meters per second at top speed. Oh, up, over. High-speed games going on here in this wet African dawn. Oh, there we go. Stalk, using the available cover of that fallen tree. Am I going to pounce on my sister while she's having a drink? Yes! And you can see the incredible agility of these animals, even in this wet, slippery weather. Oh, now, you can't see her. She's just out of frame, but she's now doing the... There we go. She's up, stalking him. Now, they're waiting in this area for their mother to return. We saw her nearly catch an impala yesterday, so we're hoping that she's caught one, and she'll come here. We'll get to see the greeting ceremony. Of course, she is the queen of Djuma, our dominant female leopard, Karula, and hopefully she'll lead them back to dinner or breakfast. In our case, it's very early in the morning. Oh, here we go again. Here we go. Sneak, 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 jump! And the little female Xongile is a little bit more agile than he is. You can already see the size difference. So they will be a year old on the 2nd of February. And we've been incredibly privileged. I've seen these little cubs since they were tiny little sausages. Now I'm going to move into a better position so we can get closer to these incredible cats while we do that. of course, you've met Jamie. And there's also Stef, who's stomping around on his big size 11 boots out in this wet morning.
Good morning, yes, and welcome to the bushwalk part of this quite dark and what looks to be going to be quite a wet and blustery safari. I am Stef, as you would have seen from that, and yes, you heard us right, we are on foot. We are in the same wilderness area that Brent and Jamie are driving around in. We are in the world famous Kruger National Park, and also one of the last true wildernesses that there are in the world. Now, why am I on foot? Well, quite simply, it's one of the best ways to explore. I've been living in this particular area for the last 20 years or so, and it's not only about lions and leopard, but it also is about all the other little things that we find here in the bush. And hopefully, I'll be able to show you some of that along with one of the big things as well. What we're doing here today, we're following up on some lion. About 11 o'clock last night, there was a big male lion roaring from this area. We've come into this area to see if we can find him. But before we go to that, I want to show you one of the blessings that we have over here right now. Now, from time to time, you might notice that we have some funny things happening with the picture on the screen. That's only because we're coming to you through all this thick bush, and every now and again a tree gets in the way of our signal. So don't go anywhere. Don't worry about that. I'm just rolling this. This is a marula fruit. Slightly green, it needs to stay in the sun a little bit to get ripe, but this one can be eaten. It's one of the blessings of summer. That is very tart, being a little bit green, but there's the fruit on the inside there. And elephant come from far and wide to eat this, so we've got to keep our ears and eyes open underneath marula trees and in marula groves like we are at the moment. We aren't the only things out here that enjoy them. Well, we're going to carry on looking for this male lion. We're going to be crossing through into some thick bush, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit on the other side, hopefully with some news on what he's been up to. In the meantime, why don't we go and see what James has been up to in his tent.
Now, as Stef said, it's not all about the big things. This is a very small thing. It is a caterpillar, and it's very beautiful, and I'm going to stick it under the microscope for you, because although it looks like a sort of green and slimy worm where it's sitting now, if we pop it under the microscope here, it's going to look very spectacular indeed. Now, it is well alive. Ooh, there we are. And he's just eating himself a bit of breakfast here. Look at his colours. He looks like a leopard. He doesn't look like a nasty little green worm anymore. Oh, he's rather gorgeous. Oh, sorry. He's moving around a bit. And of course, why wouldn't he? It's a gorgeous summer's morning with lots of water on it. Let's have one last look at him. There we go. Now, coloration like this, red, a little bit of red there, some gold and white and black, says, "Don't eat me, I'm toxic." And so if I was Stef looking for breakfast out here, and we know that Stef likes to eat things like worms from time to time and termites, then I wouldn't be eating one of these. It's probably quite toxic. Now, we've been with the little cubs this morning. I just want to give you a brief overview of what they were doing during the course of the week while you were in winter North America. There they are. They spent some time eating. Their mother caught them something. We're not sure what it was. And then she had to go off hunting again because, of course, she has to feed them, and they are very hungry all the time. They spent a slightly anxious moment as a hyena came wandering past. You can see it there in the background. And then we found the queen herself again. She was out hunting, but at this time she didn't manage to catch anything, and while the light was gorgeous, it was a little bit bright for her to be successful on the hunt. But a day later, she snuck through the undergrowth, and boom, she caught herself a little duiker, which she fed her babies. They ate it all in short order, and very shortly after that, she left them again. There they are, all three of them together. Very happily contented royal family. Yesterday, we spent some time with her again. She was out hunting. She almost caught an impala, and hopefully she will be successful sometime during the course of today. So that's what's been happening with the little leopard cubs and their mother Karula, who hopefully will make an appearance sometime during the course of the next 2 hours. Let's head straight back to Xongile and Hosana and find out how their play date is progressing.
Now they have literally climbed into a tree right next to us. Look at this as they're jumping and running and jumping. This is absolutely incredible. Now all this is incredible practice. This is honing their hunting skills on each other. Now, as they become independent from their mother, all these games that they play while she's away are going to be very important later in life. Oh, smack! Now, the little female's got the position of power, the higher ground. Now, oh, there goes little Hosana. He's decided to very unceremoniously climb down the tree. Oh! Off he goes. And they're going to keep playing and jumping around all around. So you're going to be back with us shortly. Remember, this is live. And now I've got the best news, but I'm going to keep it a secret. So across to Jamie.
And what an exciting morning it has been, and this is why we love cloudy, raining mornings just like this. It brings us the most incredible morning. So we've just stumbled upon a pair of lions, and I think a pair of courting lions right on the boundary of Djuma. And remember, this is live from the Greater Kruger National Park area, and we've stumbled across a female known as Amber Eyes, part of the Nkuhuma Pride, and then one of the dominant males in this area, a gentleman known as collectively as the Birmingham Boys. Now, I'm not sure which one it is, but let's go and have a closer look and see if we can work it out. My suspicion is that it is going to be a big male called Mufmo, the authority, who is one of the biggest members of this coalition. Yep, that looks like him. He's got a massive scar on the side of his cheek, and you can see his face crisscrossed and patterned with a number of scars, and that's just the day in the life of a dominant male lion. I suspect that this is a courting pair. In other words, she is coming into estrus or into heat, which means he is very, very interested in seeing what she gets up to. And it also means that he's going to be incredibly protective of her. Oh, look at that yawn. Those massive canines showing. Hello, gorgeous girl. Don't forget, while we watch these lions, you can send through your questions, and you can do that using their hashtag on Safari Live on Twitter. Look at that. Isn't that an incredible image? They're going to pass right by the vehicle. Here they come. He's going to stop scent mark, spray his urine, making sure everybody knows that this is his area. And there they go, past the side of the vehicle. Hello, boy. He's jogging after her. She's running. She wants to get back to the rest of her pride, and he doesn't want to let her go anywhere. Right, let me just make sure they're not too close to me before I start the vehicle. I don't want to startle them, obviously. These are wild cats, and we are in their home, so we don't want to scare them in any way. Now, she's desperate to get back to the rest of her family, and this is behavior that we see very frequently, particularly with Amber Eyes, where she doesn't seem to be all that interested in the attentions of the males. In fact, she sort of just tolerates it, and every now and again the male oversteps the boundary, and she gets very, very cross. There we go, wandering up the road. While we watch them wander up, you can see how close he is walking behind her. Jim, welcome to our live safari. Jim, you want to know how old this male lion is? He's roughly around 6 years old now. We were here when the Birmingham Boys first came in as 5 young males and caused absolute chaos with our lion pride. With several of our lion prides, actually. They displaced the original dominant males of this area, the Matimba males, and they came in young and full of testosterone. And it's been absolutely amazing watching how they have settled into their role as a dominant member of this lion society that we have out here. There they go, striding along. Can see he's not going to be letting her out of his sight. And I suspect any moment now they are going to mate. Look there. Oh, there you go. You see, anything can happen on our live safari, so absolutely don't go anywhere. We've got lions growling at each other, playful leopard cubs. We'll see you very shortly. And for those of you watching on the internet, of course, you don't miss a moment of the action. It It's amazing watching lions do this. Amber Eyes wandering along, not terribly impressed by his advances. All she wants to do is get back to the rest of the pride. She's in estrus again. That's now... It feels as though really recent that she was last in estrus. Alright, we're going to catch up with our lions and get a good position to see what they get up to. In the meantime, let's go over to Brent and his leopards.
Wasn't this absolutely incredible? We are being spoilt rotten this morning, and I'm just hoping that Queen Karula arrives back and leads them off to a bit of breakfast. Isn't this absolutely splendid? And it seems like all the animals seem to come on board every Monday morning at 5 o'clock sharp. But yes, there was a bit of calm now, and Hosana lying at the base of the tree after he had a really bad attempt at climbing, and I think he's decided he's just going to sit there for a little bit, regather himself before attempting to push Xongile out of the top spot. So I haven't moved very far since yesterday morning. This is the area that they were found in. Very funny looking. He's getting so big so quickly. Now, of course, this is very low light conditions with this wall of cloud over us, and it's dripping now. It was raining a bit harder earlier. And we can put up with being a bit damp if the leopard cubs are bouncing about like they have been so far. Oh, you're going to come down now? They really are enjoying this cool, wet weather. It's just amazing how lithe and flexible leopards are, and incredible agility. Because remember, these trees are really wet. It's been raining hard since probably about 6 o'clock yesterday, so the area is completely wet. The bark's wet and slippery, and they still manage, well, most of the time, not to fall on their heads, although Hosana did a good job of doing that a bit earlier when he broke the branch. It is such a gorgeous wet morning here. Now, the leopard cubs are still playing, unfortunately, for the little Prince Hosana, who we're looking at. He has not managed to remove his sister from the high ground next to us. But isn't this just amazing? What a start to the morning. Lion, leopard, snakes, Stef munching on local fruit, and James being his very entertaining himself in the tent. What a wonderful way. And as I say, we don't mind a little rain when the animals are out to play, and sometimes this weather creates create some of the best sightings possible. Now, the only thing we can hope for is that Queen Karula, the dominant female, the mother of these cubs, who we've seen hunting and stalking and climbing trees in the first show, is going to come back and possibly lead them to another kill. Now, one of the great things about sitting with leopard cubs, it's also the best way to find their mother, because at some point she's got to come back to fetch them, and you do get to see some really, really amazing interaction and greeting ceremonies between them all. And one of the most fascinating things is that how close these cubs are at the moment, how much they play together, how much they frolic, they lie together, they sleep together. And in a few short months, they'll go their separate ways, and the male will disperse further and further away from his natal range, where the female will generally stay quite close to where she was born. Now, Morgan is wondering, do these cubs ever hunt on their own at this age? Morgan, indeed they do, and they probably hunt mostly small things, birds, small antelope, squirrels will be a favorite, and lizards, but they are at that age where they're possibly capable of taking down something like a young impala or a duiker. Now, I have heard that Hosana has managed to catch a duiker before. Whether his mom helped him or not, I'm not sure, I wasn't there, but there is a strong possibility. Now, while the leopards are not moving at all, let's go across to Stef, who's on foot, who's with a creature that is escaping at high speed. Well, for it.
You know, this is the middle of our rainy season at the moment. From January to March is when we have all of our rains, almost all of our rains at least, anyway, at least the big ones. And it really is a blessing in Africa. We live in a water poor country right down here at the tip of the African continent. And although it looks nice and wet at the moment, we definitely need some more rain. But the creatures that come out after the rain is just incredible. What you're looking at here is a giant land snail. And not a very big one. This is still a juvenile, an adolescent, a teenager if you will, and making its way to the vegetation. They eat fungus mainly. They also eat some grass and some plants, but generally speaking you just see these land snails feeding on fungus. Now, land snails are one of those bizarre creatures in this world that can be both male and female at the same time, hermaphrodites. So any snail can fertilize any other snail's eggs. I know it sounds a bit weird that, but it definitely is what it is. Has 4 eyes as well on the end of these stalks. So it has the 2 long stalks and it has 2 short stalks. Let's see if I can gently pick it up. I want to alarm the snail. So the eye stalks, 2 long eye stalks, and 2 small eye stalks with a simple eye at the end of a tube. Inside their mouth, which is inside the folds, right there, is a really hard disc of like a file, and that is what they eat with. The rest is quite soft. Isn't that just incredible? Now, another thing that comes out with the rain are scorpions. And I've managed to find one while we were busy looking at this particular snail. I've managed to find one of the largest scorpions that we have here. This one is dead. This scorpion died, and I'm not too sure why it's died. It could have been hit by a bird. But have a look at the size of this scorpion. This is just incredible. This is called the granulated burrowing scorpion, and just have a look at the size of that. Incredible, hey? Look how long that sting is. That sting they use to subdue their prey, but they also use it when they're courting a female. A male will sting a female repeatedly and it subdues them for some or other odd reason. Scorpion venom is attractive to the opposite sex. Can you imagine that? Your boyfriend stinging you from time to time. Right, I don't quite know what I'm going to do with this guy, but someone who is quite good with little things like this, but does have a story about the rain for you, is Mr. James Henry. We'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Well, many things come out in the rain, of course, and one of them are these snails. And the other thing is the things that eat snails, and believe it or not, most tortoises I know eat lettuce and Brussels sprouts and equally disgusting things like that, but this one likes to eat snails, a partiality to escargot. Astounding thing, we'll hopefully see one of them. Then, another chelonian we have at the dam. Have a look at this. Now, you can see it is teeming rain now, and that is a little terrapin, and they are having the best time out there, wallowing in the mud, swimming in the water, eating the algae. You can see they're all over the place there, and this is at a little waterhole really quite close to where we live. Stef, of course, is standing in that rain that you can see there. These little terrapins are just the best. They're like freshwater turtles, largely carnivorous, a little bit like our tortoise friend. And they'll eat birds sometimes. They'll grab them as they come down to drink. They'll eat insects off animals that come to lie in the water. We've seen them feeding off the ticks that sit on buffalo. But when it rains like this, this is their party time. They think this is just the best fun in the world. Now, it wasn't always rainy like this, I'm afraid. We've had one of the worst droughts, apparently, in 104 years. Who was calculating that 104 years ago is anyone's guess. But have a look at how dry it was, and then compare it with the rain and the verdant greenery you've seen this morning. After the driest season in living memory, the Sabi Sand was a dust bowl of parched land and skeletal creatures seeking out the final brown sprigs of food.
Oh, shame. Look how sunken her pelvis is.
Storm clouds teased for months before taking their moisture elsewhere. Then, with one final crack, the heavens relented and the drought was over. Birds and mammals reveled in Africa's most special blessing, rain.
I think there's the road there. I don't know, you might be able to see better than I
can. The animals slaked their thirst, but a cat seldom likes wet feet. Insects hatched from long dormant eggs and feasted on new leaves and blooms. Herbivores sought out the fresh buds bursting from dry twigs and the emerald flush from once dusty soil. But water is not only for drinking, it's also for fun. For now, nature will revel in the joy and life brought by African rain.
And welcome back to Sitting with Lions live here from the Kruger National Park. As you can see, we are all incredibly happy that it has rained. The environment really needed it, the ecosystem really needed it, and most importantly, the animals really, really needed it. But it is also perfect big cat weather because they don't get too hot, they don't feel too warm, so they're always moving about. And if you look at the bellies of these two lions, they are definitely hungry. A moment ago, Amber Eyes gave our poor Birmingham boy some seriously mixed signals. She adopted the lordosis reflex position, which is basically the position that lions adopt when they're about to mate. But as soon as he tried, she turned around and growled furiously at him and turned around and swatted him in the face. And mating between big cats can be very, very violent. While we catch up with them, Jessica, you want to know if the female cats will stay loyal to their male partners. Jessica, welcome and thank you for sending through your question. Are they going to stop and have a drink? Brilliant. Jessica, no, they don't. A female in estrus will mate with whichever male happens to essentially take possession of her, and they do become very, very possessive. And you can see he's intent on getting his own way. He's checking her, checking to see whether or not she is ready to mate or not. But a female will mate with any male possible, and the reason that she does that, it's a very, very clever approach, is so that every male in the area, if they do have a chance to mate with her, will think that they have fathered cubs and therefore be far less likely to kill them. Because any male lion that encounters cubs that belong to a female that he hasn't mated with, he will kill those cubs if he is fully mature, because that brings the female back into heat and then allows the male to mate with her and pass on his own genetics rather than focusing on raising another male's cubs. She's very, very upset with him. All she wants to do is go and find the pride, get something to eat, and he's just not letting her. Now, if you do have any further questions you'd like to know about these amazing big cats or Africa in general, you can do that because this is live. You can do that on #SafariLive on Twitter. See them striding along. Now, any second now, I don't want to let them get too far away, because any second now he could try to mate with her again, and she can give us the amazing demonstration of the ferocity of a lioness. I've had a situation like this before with Amber Eyes. Well, we don't interact with the animals, but obviously we are part of their world. They're very, very comfortable with our vehicles, as you saw earlier. We make sure that we don't have any kind of negative impact on their lives. However, there was one really interesting incident where this lioness that you're watching now used my vehicle as a way to try and get away from a male lion, and that was a couple of months ago. It might even have been this gentleman. And essentially what she did was she moved behind the vehicle to try and get around to the other side and escape him, and he moved in front, and then she turned around and went the other way, and then they sort of crisscrossed and played peekaboo with each other. There we go.
Thank you.
Now, there is another vehicle that's about to pop round into view. So there are other vehicles that do move around this area. They get to experience a safari. Guests get to come out and have these once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. We're going to catch up with our lions, see what they get up to, but I'm sure you don't want to miss a moment of playtimes with leopard cubs. Let's go back to Brent.
Peekaboo, I see you. It's little Xongile. She's still holding the high ground. She's turned around a little bit. Look at it, just peering through that gap in the branches. It is absolutely stunning. Now, while you've been away, both the cubs have been looking sort of towards the northwest from where we're sitting, and I'm secretly hoping that Mom is on her way back and we get to see the reunion. This is absolutely fantastic. And well, there's that old saying, I'd rather be lucky than good, and if Mom arrives, that's pure luck, nothing to do with skill, but we will take it, that is for sure. But at the moment, Hosana, not doing too much. He's just keeping guard, one could say, in a very sphinx-like pose at the base of the tree. But little Xongile, what are you going to do? Now, she keeps looking, as I said, she's noticed something. There could be a bird. Now, back to licking. Well, Mrs. Lovely is wondering, how long will the leopard siblings stay together? Well, it's very dependent on each individual situation. Normally, the young females will leave their mother a little bit earlier, at around 16 to 18 months. And become independent earlier. The little boys don't like to leave home as early. They will leave around 2 years, 2.5 years, but again, it always depends. Each situation is completely unique, and there's no blanket rule for anything out here in the African bush. Now, I'm hoping that young Xongile is about to pounce down the tree and continue playing, and we're not going to move a muscle, but we will be going into a little break, but we will be back very shortly afterwards. But for the last few seconds before we go away, I'm sure you'd much rather look at the wonderful leopards. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few short minutes with this incredible live safari. Yes, well, we are now in an ad break. Brian, who is the thumb working for today? Who is the thumb working for today? Let's have a look. There we go. There we go. He's got his Nat.Geo tie on for his Nat.Geo safari. Look how happy he is to be. He's so chuffed, the Thumb. Yeah. Yes, he is. Very happy, Thumb. And we're also very happy to be with these incredible cats. Well, what are you up to now, little Xongile? Giving herself a good preen. Now, even though it's drizzly and wet, it's still quite warm. Oh, bless you, Brian. At about 75 Fahrenheit, so very pleasant temperature to be out in the bush. Oh, here she goes. Could this start the next bout of nonsense between the cubs? Oh, they love testing those bendy branches. Now, wouldn't it be incredible if Karula arrived? Oh, I would be so excited. I mean, it's absolutely riveting to have just these two here. Oh, she is absolutely gorgeous. Little busybodies. She definitely seems to be more of a busybody than her brother. Oh, if you're a leopard cub, every tree's a jungle gym. Oh, bottom falls. Oh, that collapse out of the tree did manage to get Hosana off his lazy bones. Oh, he's sneezing. Bless you, Hosana. Or was it a hairball? Oh, I think it might be a hairball. That sounds like a hairball. Of course, it's not only hair. It'll be bits of bone and hoof and other things. Is he going to cough it up or force it back down? Oh, it looks like a quick chew and swallow. Greedy guts. He doesn't like to waste anything. I think his sister is just lying in the bushes below that little bush willow tree that she fell out of. I definitely think it's time to start chasing each other around again. There we go. Let's just move a little bit. A bit of funny angle here, Brian. Oh, all the mud in the brakes. Oh, maybe let's try from the other side. What do you think, Brian? You happy? Oh, well, of course, the best laid plans. Let's actually. Now, bet you before we go back to TV, they charge off in the opposite direction. Welcome back, everyone. We're still with the incredible royal cubs of Djuma, and they've come down from the tree, and I'm hoping the next bout of playfulness starts again. Remember, this is a live African safari. You are seeing these incredible images at the exact same time as me. So much of excitement. And remember, if you want to ask us any questions, use the hashtag #SafariLive. Now, let's have a look what they're up to next. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's just having a lovely little scratch on that stump. Now, this is just one of those sightings you don't get to see very often. So if you're watching, send us a one-word tweet about how this sighting makes you feel. It is incredible. Oh, up the tree. Oh, definitely not as agile as his sister. Sorry, the one-word tweet, hashtag #SafariLive, with the one word that you want to describe these leopard cubs with. And I think mine would be, oof, this is quite a difficult one. Splendid. Mine would definitely be splendid. And there's not many better ways to spend your morning than with little leopard cubs. Oh, is the stalk on? The little female's moving back towards him, and she's starting to show those little stalking movements. See how she puts her feet exactly, her back foot exactly where her front foot is. But she has been spotted. Her brother has decided to take the offensive towards her, which has caused her to lie down. Again, we do apologize about the large pole in the way there. We do have a roof on, as it is still raining. Oh, there we go, running right towards us. That's amazing for a little leopard. Every tree, every branch, every bit of grass is a massive jungle gym. And a big Safari Live welcome to Helmet, who would like to know, how risky is it for young leopards to encounter lions? Helmet, it is incredibly risky. At this age, though, they've developed the skills that will enable them generally to be safe. Even though they seem to be distracted and playing and chasing each other, any little sight or sound or smell will cause them to be into a defensive mode. And there are lots of trees around here that they are able to climb up to escape. Now, there we go. Here comes trouble number 2. Where are you off to? Are you going to try pounce on your sister from behind? Or are you going to... Oh, there we go. Here we go. As his sister turned and showed stalking movements, he decided to put a bit of distance between him. Let's see if she uses the termite mound or the bushes. So all this practice of them chasing each other is honing their natural killer instincts. So when they have to fend for themselves, they'll be able to survive and catch whatever they want to. Here we go. There she's on the stalk. Look at this. Look at this. Now, we've got our first one-word tweet in, and then, what are you doing? You're a leopard. You're not supposed to swim. What are you doing, you silly cat? Now, this is really, really rare. You never see leopards in water. They don't normally like it. What are you doing? He could be trying to catch terrapins, and... oh, he's out of the water. Look at that little leg shake. And sorry, we will be had a one-word tweet, and that is entertaining, and that is definitely what these little leopards are, is highly entertaining. He's still being stalked at the moment by his little sister after his very strange swimming experience. There she is. She's using that fallen bush. You can just make her out through there as she's trying to get close enough to pounce on her brother, who's stopped for a morning ablution. Isn't this absolutely amazing? I've only ever seen a leopard go into the water like that once or twice, and I've been living in the African bush since I was 4 years old. I've been guiding professionally for the last 15, 16 years. So you've got to realize how incredibly special that is. And these cubs do create these incredibly special things. Look at how flat he's getting. Okay, one. When are you going to pounce? She knows he's there, but this is just games. That was a very half-hearted pounce, mister. They are indeed some of the most entertaining creatures at this age. Remember, if you want to ask any questions or send your one-word tweet in, #SafariLive on Twitter is the way to get hold of us. Now, you can see that little bit of water that he was swimming in there. It's what we call a pan. Oh, here we go. And that is a natural wallow that's been oh, no, game's on. That's been created by elephant, buffalo, and the more they wallow in the mud, the deeper it becomes. And eventually these become almost semi-permanent bodies of water during our wet season, our summer months, which is right now. And in this case, it's providing a wonderful playground. Oh, look at it! He's caught himself a piece of bark. And Jason's one-word tweet is on point. Rascals is Jason's one-word tweet. Indeed they are. Little rascals. Oh, here comes a jump. Look how his body's posed. Look how those muscles... Here we go. And you can just see how incredibly efficient those muscles are as they tense up before they play. Oh, he's going swimming again, it looks like. What are you doing, you silly cat? Oh, he's chewing on the stick. This is, I just can't iterate how incredibly special this is. And this is 100% live. You are getting these incredible images at the same time as us. We're bringing a live African safari to your living room. Isn't that just absolutely amazing? And what could be better than spending time with these two troublemakers? There we go. What are you doing? Oh my goodness. Now, I think he might be trying to dig out a terrapin or a turtle, which is a little freshwater aquatic reptile, or he could just be going for his sister's tail. Got it. Sometimes there's just no words to express a sighting like this. It's time to just keep quiet and enjoy for a few seconds. I've never seen a leopard so enthralled with water. Now, it could be because these cubs grew up in the worst drought that we've had in 100 years. And, of course, this is their first proper rainy season. When they were born in February, which is normally wet last year, it was incredibly dry. So this could be the reason they're so enthralled with water. Now, from a long-term point of view, that could be a bit dangerous. In a little mud wallow like this, it's fine. But any larger bodies of water out in Africa hold crocodiles. So, it's going to be very interesting watching these cubs grow up. And remember, we're only in the third of 8 shows. So isn't this amazing? You get to experience Africa live once a week. And I've never seen this before. I've never ever seen behavior like this before. It is absolutely incredible. I mean, you see hyenas, you see wild dogs go swim and play around in water. You don't see leopards do it. You really, really don't. And the amazing thing is that this is happening at this very second. He is loving the bark from that tree. It's his trophy. This is just flabbergasting. I've changed my one-word tweet. My one-word tweet is now flabbergasting, or should I say I'm flabbergasted. But while they're a little bit calm now, we're going to go across to James, who can show you how impressive the armory on the inside of a leopard's mouth is.
I'm quite flabbergasted, I think, by Brent's face there. I've never seen him looking so flabbergasted in all my life. My word for those leopard sightings is childhood. It just reminds me of when I was a happy and carefree lad. David, your word was cute, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Now, we're having a look at two different skulls here, and the reason we're doing that is because I wanted to look at their relative brain sizes. Here is the leopard. You've seen the leopard today. Well, you've seen two of them, one of them having a swim. And here is the lion, who you've seen trying to mate with the lioness. Now, by rights, in a mammal species, the brain should be bigger the more social they are. Now, it just so happens that this particular lion's skull, well, it either met with some kind of a dreadfully accurate accident or had an autopsy performed on it. I think it was the latter. But there is the brain case of the lion. And the lion, of course, is the only social cat in the world, and therefore we would expect its brain case to be slightly larger proportionately than the leopard's. And I think if we look at them like that, I'm not convinced there's any real difference at all. So I don't think that rule holds necessarily for the cats. It certainly does for the primates, and it certainly does for some of the other carnivores. And for birds, it's exactly the opposite. Now, let's have a quick look at where we are in the world. Not so much the world, a sort of zoomed-in view of Djuma. Now, Djuma is this piece of land that we call home on the western fringes of the Kruger Park. Here is the great river, the great Mlwamati River, which means the raging torrent, basically. It means the fighting waters. Now, the fighting waters have not fought for many centuries now, but they do form the basis on which much activity is happening on this reserve. Now, Jamie is lurking around over here with those two lions. In fact, we should draw amber eyes, of course, in amber, shouldn't we? There she is there. That's her. She's looking very... baboons. Baboons alarm calling right here. They went, ah, oh! There. Oh, it is raining a little bit. Can you see them there, David? They're just through there. Now they're watching us. You see them at all?
Yep.
That's a troop of baboons. I was talking about primates. And they're standing up like that because they're watching us and thinking, good grief, what are those idiots doing out there in the tent? How cool is that? Right, so they're eating marula fruits, as you saw Stef doing earlier. Of course, Stef is also a primate. I know sometimes that can be difficult to believe. So that's where Jamie is, with amber eyes over there, and Brent is sitting down here in this little pool of water. There's a little pool of water over there, and that's where Brent is with the two little leopard cubs. Oh, I think that's rather special. There they are. Now, what we're doing, we saw Karula over here yesterday, and she stalked and nearly caught two impala babies. And the rain helped her do that, certainly. But since then, we don't know where she is. And just before we came live, we heard monkeys and baboons alarm calling around here. And we thought maybe that Karula had come along past here and was on her way back to the cubs. Now, what she does, if she kills something, she will hoist it into a tree, or if it's very big, she'll hide it under a bush. She'll go back and fetch the cubs and take them straight back to that. And that's basically what's happening there. Now, Stef has got the opposite end of, remember I showed you those chelonians? We looked at the terrapins. We looked at the speaks-hinged tortoise, carnivorous fellow that he is. Now we're going to the vegan chelonian with Stef.
The vegan. I would say that today's just been one of these epic leopard days. And this is almost a bit of a tongue twister for me. For those just joining me, that is a leopard tortoise, and I am Stefan Winterboer. We are on foot in this massive wilderness area that is the Kruger National Park, and you're looking at one of the largest leopard tortoises I have ever seen. That leopard tortoise is about as big as a football and gets its name, leopard tortoise, from that beautiful patterning on their backs. Not quite the same as those two leopard cubs that you're looking at with Brent, But definitely that yellow and black dots all over the shell is one of the most striking of the tortoise patterns that we have in this part of South Africa. We really only have two tortoises, the land-based turtles. It's this one, the leopard tortoise, and then the Speke's hinged back tortoise, as James was busy telling you over there. Totally vegetarian, and probably this female, and I know she's a female because underneath her chin, where her head goes in, there aren't a noticeable spade. Now, male tortoises fight with one another for mating rights, and just underneath her head, I'm just going to put my finger underneath where her head is. Generally speaking, male tortoises have this ridge or this spur that they use to joust with one another and turn one another over onto their backs. And females are a little bit bigger in the tortoise world, mainly because they've got to build eggs for them, well, build eggs for their babies, and they need to have a larger body volume to do that. Now, she's in exceptionally good condition. Her scutes, which are the plates that live on top of her bones, that is her shell, are in really good condition. She's rubbed a few of the taller ones shiny, but the cover and the covering on this particular tortoise, she's in still exceptional season that we had here, and that would have stretched from around about May all the way through to about October, where she would have come out of hiding, and literally from then now she would be eating all this gorgeous vegetation. That we're seeing around here. Pretty cool. Now, I have a quiz for you. I've been jealous listening to you with looking at those leopard cubs that you've got and talking about vegetation. I have collected a handful of some of my favorites. This is Kailinga, or the white-headed sedge. This is Hemizigia. It doesn't really have a common name. You can call it the coconut plant because it really smells like coconut. And this pink beauty here is the sesame seed. Now, what are we going to be doing with all of these is my quiz. Kailinga, Hemizigia, sesame. And the clue lies in what those leopard cubs have been getting up to this morning. Now, you can send your answers through to this at the hashtag Safari Live, and when you see me next time, I'll be able to show you what I've done with all of these plants. Now, let's go back to this, not young lady. She's probably in the region of about 50 or 60 years old. They can get very old tortoises.